Lin is just an average young man living alone in a bustling city, with no relatives or close friends. His modest apartment and grand aspirations are his only companions. On his 18th birthday, Lin celebrates his coming of age in a solemn, simple way. He shares a slice of birthday cake with the shrine of his deceased mother, as he relays his plans to join a prestigious sect and pursue his dream of becoming a cultivator, a kind of magician in his world. His quiet moment is shattered by an ominous knock at the door. A chilling voice from an elderly man fills the air, urging someone inside to open up. Simultaneously, Lin's TV and phone begin to malfunction, displaying warnings of a mysterious entity known to kidnap promising youths at midnight. In a panic, Lin activates his innate, supernatural ability known as Spiritual Eyes, a unique form of X-ray vision that detects spiritual energies, to arm himself with an evil repelling spell and face the unknown. Upon dialing up the Spiritual Affairs Bureau, which I guess is Magic Police, the mysterious man busts the main door open. Blinding green light bursts through and hits Lin's face. The intruder is an old man with a long, gray beard and hair completely surrounded by a yellow glow. He tells Lin that he's been waiting for him very long and teleports them both away from Lin's house. When Lin opens his eyes, he sees them floating in an endless mystical land. The man explains that they are the boundary between the mortal and spiritual worlds. The man then casts a spell that releases a giant red orb that gets absorbed into Lin. He starts hearing a robotic voice in his head that scans his body. After determining that he is suitable for what is to come next, a scream of the loading screen appears in front of him. It quickly reaches 100% and the voice says that the War God system has successfully fused and installed within him. The old man doesn't offer any explanation for what just happened. He simply hands Lin a letter of recommendation that will allow him to enter Juzo Top Magic Academy in the spiritual world and train as a cultivator. It's like all his wishes have been given to him on a silver platter. Maybe it's a birthday miracle, and Lin gladly accepts without asking any questions, which the old man is relieved about. He leaves Lin behind in a hurry while laughing about his new freedom, making him wonder if he got scammed somehow. He doesn't care much, though, because he's in the spirit world. A small floating ball with wings comes out of his pocket. It speaks in the same robotic voice that he heard earlier. It introduces itself as the system's spirit. The system is essentially a cheat that will let Lin easily adapt and peek into the spiritual world. The spirit is only visible to him, and he must be careful about how he uses it in front of others to avoid suspicion. A large ball emerges in front of them that looks like a glitch in a game. The spirit explains that a cultivator has become stuck in the teleportation channel because the channel failed due to an energy surplus. It guides Lin so that he can absorb the extra energy, repairing the channel. Eventually, a beautiful girl emerges from the channel and crashes into Lin. The girl quickly helps him up and thanks him for saving her. The spirit detects when they make physical contact and helps him boost his appearance by giving him a glow up. It works. The girl introduces herself as Zilin from the Vermilion Bird sect. She's surprised to hear that he is from the mortal world without any affiliation to his sect and asks how he got into the school. He shows her the scroll of the recommendation letter. Seeming to understand, she shakes his hand and says that she looks forward to being in the same class as him. When he asks how she knows they will be in the same class, she just giggles and says she just knows. The two walk into the grand school together while she runs through the history of the prestigious school. Juzo Top Magic Academy was the first land of cultivation established by the Heavenly Alliance and is a floating island in the sky and is as big as a continent. They go to where all the other students have gathered. The first test is to touch the lustrous diamond Minal, the only energy source and flagship treasure of the island. The monolith detects the person's strength and cultivation base, according to which it assigns them a level and class. All 1000 students undergo the test to be divided into 100 classes, with Class 1 having the students with the highest potential in cultivation. This batch of students seems promising, with many students entering Class 1. Among them, Swingyuan Cheng, the leader of Thousand Spirit Sect, stands out because he presents a letter of recommendation from a true god, which is assigned to him a genius. All the students immediately get hyped over him. Sure enough, when he touches the monolith, he gets the upper initial stage in spiritual nurturing level and a seat in Class 1. After Cheng, Solin's turn comes. Upon touching the monolith, she gets the upper 9th stage and also gets into Class 1. She walks toward Lin and says she'll be waiting for him in Class 1. The other male students notice and become jealous of and forget all the attention from her. Yin's turn finally comes. Despite all the doubts, he takes up a confident posture and presents his letter of recommendation. Everybody goes berserk over seeing 2 students with recommendation letters in one batch. His letter is from Master Lu, the legendary master who attained immortality above true gods. This causes everyone to have very high expectations when he walks up to the monolith, with the crowd even chanting his name. However, when he touches the monolith, only a small ripple comes out, and his rank is put for everyone to see. For the first time in 100,000 years, Lin becomes the only student ever to enter the elite class 1 with a level of 0. Surprisingly, the next student, despite having a higher level, is placed in class 100, the lowest rank, sparking outrage among the peers. Accusations fly, suggesting Lin must have manipulated his way in, which quickly turns the entire school against him. Amid the turmoil, a class 1 peer challenges Lin to a duel, deemed too dangerous for him. His spirit advisor urgently recommends escape. Just then, Zijialin, a fellow student, intervenes, whisking Lin away to safety and his dorm. That night, Lin examines the school's ranking system, determined to salvage his tarnished reputation. The spirit provides him with simple leveling up strategies. By performing 10, then 20, then 100 push UPS in succession, Lin advances rapidly through the stages, each level significantly boosting his physical strength. Yet, he reaches an impasse at the 4th stage, which absurdly requires 10 billion push UPS. Confronted with this unrealistic goal, Lin decides to explore alternative leveling methods. Needing a break from the intense situation, he steps out for a refreshing walk outside. Almost as soon as he leaves the room, he gets attacked by a masked man from the back. Thankfully, he hears the attacker and dodges his punch. He activates his spiritual eyes and sees that the attacker is in the 3rd stage, just like him. With his newfound agility and strength, Lin tries to take the attacker down, but neither gains an advantage over the other. The attacker's mask comes off during the fight, revealing that he is Liu Dabao, the one who was sorted into class 100 right after N. Salty about being upstaged by him, Liu has come to get rid of the entire school's hatred in Lin. Pissed that it has already reached the 3rd stage within a single day, Liu casts a golden talisman. The spirit tells him that he can neither block nor run away from this attack. The only solution is to melt the talisman and release its energy neutrally using Heavenly Gateway, without knowing how to do so, and just stands at the same spot while the talisman flies toward him. But its course is interrupted by an avalanche of rubble falling over it. Segalin comes to the rescue with a sword to surprise Liu's neck, demanding him to stay back. However, Liu is able to distract them and tries to land a magic punch on Xiaolin. It notices at the last moment and blocks the punch, absorbing the energy with Heavenly Gateway, just as his spirit had advised him. Segalin slashes with her sword, but Liu runs away from the scene, with the immediate threat gone, and collapses on the ground after draining all of his energy into cultivating the Heavenly Gateway. He's still happy, though, because the fight allowed him to get closer to reaching the 4th stage, and Lin and Segalin attend their first class together. The other 2 letter of recommendation students in the batch, Princess Suchanian of the Keimu royal family and Suinjen Cheng, get a grand entrance as the whole class admires them like royalty. Both are already at the spiritual nurturing level, proof of their genius. Suddenly, a floating tree at the center of the stage starts speaking. He introduces himself as the cultivator Kang King, their teacher for the practical cultivation class. The teacher is busy with other commitments and so has sent a projection to relay his teachings, sort of like a magical Zoom call. And Lin, expecting to learn his first lesson, is shocked when everybody, including the tree, goes silent. With his spiritual eyes, he realizes that all his classmates have entered some sort of meditation. Segalin explains that the cultivation realm can only be sensed and cannot be spoken in words, and that she'll give him extra lessons to understand how to do it. Disappointed, and waits for the next class to begin. Even the teacher of the swordsmanship class is not present and talks with a talking sword and misses out on the teachings again, and as he cannot enter the meditative state, he starts to lose hope as class after class goes the same way. However, hope is restored when a live teacher, Elder Yuying, walks into the class to teach the mortal class. She signs in Lin as the class representative for the mortal class due to his experience living in the mortal world, making him eagerly look forward to the lessons. He is again quickly disappointed when the teacher hands a phone to each student, sits back and makes them use the phone. However, they want for an hour. He tries to object, suggesting different things they can learn about the mortal world, but the teacher quickly shuts him down, telling him this class is like their physical education class and nothing more. For the first time in his life, and is upset over not learning anything in school. Lin doesn't wake up until then. Next class has started. Sein explains that this is the magical class, and teacher Ying intends to hold a magic sparring session. The teacher picks Chang and Lin as the first pair. Sein asks to spar Chang instead, considering the large power gap between him and An. Despite the teacher declining, Sein stops, and from fighting him by making the first move, she charges him with a handful of flames. But Chang puts it out with the force of wind. She tries hitting him from every angle, but he effortlessly counters her without moving from his spot. She goes up in the air and flies back toward him as a phoenix, but Chang fends her off with a powerful force field using the Absolute Spirit Formation spell. At this moment, the spirit tells him that he can analyze his formation with his spiritual eyes. Upon doing so, he notices a single weak spot in the force field. Sein continues to attack, but can't make a dent in his defense. Chang decides to end the fight by using his first offensive move and bravely runs into the scene, pushes Hylian away, and uses Heavenly Gateway to absorb the energy from the attack. A huge dust cloud billows up upon impact, leaving onlookers astonished to see An, who is only at the third stage, still standing after taking the blow. He retaliates by casting a spell at Chang, who swiftly dodges it. Attempting to end the confrontation, Chang tries to bind and end another with chains, but to his dismay, the chains shatter. Chang turns in shock to see Lin had cleverly targeted a weak spot in his formation, breaking it. This strategic move allows Lin to advance to the fourth stage, remarkably rising from 0 to 4 in just one day. Accepting defeat, Chang concedes the victory. Afterward, the spirit advises Lin that he needs 130 spiritual stones to reach the 7th stage. Post-class, Chang approaches Lin and Sein, extending an olive branch and offering his assistance with their cultivation. He also innocently asks Lin for the 130 spiritual stones he needs for his next level up. An embarrassed Sein explains to Chang that spiritual stones are actually the currency in their world, implying that Lin was unknowingly asking for money. As Lin begins to apologize, Chang, showing generosity, hands him a ring valued at 5,000 spiritual stones to support his cultivation needs. Before leaving, the two exchange gaming aids and Chang invites him to come play and watch movies with him in his room soon. Video games are the quickest way to a gamer's heart. Princess also approaches them to make friendly conversation and asks them for extra lessons to understand the mortal world. Back in his dorm, the system notifies him of the upcoming Battle for Freedom, an annual battle royal competition held by the school that is mandatory for all students to participate in. The system gives him his first special quest, in which he has to rank in the top 50 at the Battle for Freedom. If he succeeds, he gets a prize from the system that can be anything from special weapons to magic tools. But if he loses, he will be transformed into a girl for a whole year. Haunted by the thought of becoming a girl, he intensively studies the background of the battle to prepare himself. The system shows him a map of the Thousand Peaks Forest, where the competition takes place for 3 days and all 50 students from across all 5 years of the academy participate. With his newly obtained 7th stage, and checks his projected rank, and is horrified to find himself close to 30. He begs the spirit for more ways to level up. It recommends obtaining an essence of mountain to unlock the 7th stage's powerful special skill, Mountain Quaking Fist, and winning a duel against an opponent at the 9th stage or higher to level up to the 8th stage. Doing both will help him jump from his 30,000 rank to 4,653. He asks Bro Chang to intentionally lose to him in a fight so he can level up, but Chang refuses, saying he should strengthen himself using honorable practices. Bro, he asks Kellen for help with obtaining the essence of mountain, but is too embarrassed to ask her to lose to him in a fight and chickens out at the last moment. With Chang hyping him up, he tries asking again the next time they meet, but drags it out and speaks in vague terms, causing him to believe he's hinting at confessing his feelings to her. Blushing, and agrees to let him do a sneak attack on her when he wants. A few days later, they meet up so she can give him the promised essence of mountain. She gets very nervous, expecting him to reveal his true feelings for her, but instead, launches a surprise attack at her using spells Chang taught him. Xiaolin starts tearing up when she realizes she misunderstood him with her arms bound up in chains, and loses the drive to follow through his attack upon seeing her cry and loosens the chains. She throws the bag with the essence at him and runs away, crying and calling him a jerk, and dies inside with guilt and returns to the dorm with the bag. In it, he finds not only the essence, but also a notebook with handwritten notes about all the previous year's battle, freedom top rankers, stats, and powers for him to prepare from. He reads through it while feeding on some of the essence. The last page has a small note from her that says he should use the location spell to find her in the battle so that she can protect him. Feeling super bad about making her cry, he decides to go apologize to her right away, but is stopped in his tracks by the worst stomach ache ever. The spirit explains that the essence is taking effect on his body and must be detoxified from his body since then, and is unable to leave his room for days due to a severe case of diarrhea. Sehwan waits for him day and night for an apology, but is left disappointed. He misses class too, making the students think he is taking things too lightly, further decreasing his popularity. At this rate, it looks like he won't be well enough to participate in the battle for freedom. Chang comes to check on him, but can't get up to open the main door. After explaining his illness, his bro Chang comes through with a Heart Sutra spell that rapidly clears the inner demons out of his body. He works at it the whole evening and night over multiple days to help him get back on his feet. With only 8 hours remaining before the competition, it makes a 97% recovery. So close yet so far. All 50th students gather at the monolith at the time of the Battle of Freedom. The eldest elder, Yua, makes an appearance to address them. He explains that the teachers will score the students based on their battle strength and total contribution during the 3-day period, which will determine their rank in the battle. He has cast golden light on all the students to protect them from grave injury and death. If it breaks, the students are eliminated from the arena. At the end of the opening ceremony, the students are teleported to the Thousand Peaks Forest. Chang and Princess eliminate multiple students with ease with no suitable challenger in sight. Xiaolin climbs up a tree to temporarily hide while tracking his movements, still harboring resentment for not receiving an apology. She stubbornly refuses to search for him unless he makes amends. Meanwhile, Enlin, now the most despised and hunted student, conceals himself in the bushes to detoxify the remaining 3% of toxins in his system. His solitude is disrupted by an 8th stage student, and his presence quickly attracts 4 more 9th stage students. Enlin cleverly instigates a conflict among them, buying himself time to fully detoxify. Upon recovery, he unleashes the newly unlocked Mountain Quaking Fist skill, decisively defeating the 4 9th stage challengers. This victory propels him to the 8th stage, significantly boosting his battle strength. However, the spirit notes that 11 hours have elapsed since the onset of the battle, and with only 4 opponents defeated, Enlin's chances of breaking into the top 50 are slim without further skill enhancements. The spirit suggests several upgrade quests, but before Enlin can act on any, Liu from class 100 intervenes. Liu leads him to a hidden location where all 291 students of class 100 are sheltering to evade a brutal elimination round. Facing the inevitable, they plead with Enlin to eliminate them gently, recognizing him as different from the ruthless competitors in Class 1. He does not believe the weak because he, too, has a heart of the weak, and gladly accepts and eliminates them to rapidly rise up the ranks to 78 to 64, and takes a break to think of new plans to increase his rank. The spirit interrupts him by saying a spiritual, nurturing level cultivator is very close. Right then, a voice from the back declares himself as a Year 4 spiritual, nurturing level student and challenges Lin to fight. The shining soldier-like opponent speeds toward him, but is taken down within seconds by an ultimate flash spell cast by another spiritual, nurturing level student, and Lin recognizes him from Solin's notes. She is Liu Kangwang, a Year 3 student who ranked 2nd in the previous year's battle and was also a letter of recommendation holder. She also has a cute nickname. It's the number 1 god of killing, getting ready to have his butt kicked and waiting for her to attack. Instead, she asks him to play a game with him. She says that she wants to play games with guys from the mortal realm to look for the right guy for her. The game's rules are that she asks him 100 questions about the mortal world and has to answer them all correctly within a time limit to avoid getting eliminated. The two end up having a lot of fun over the game, and then successfully complete it. Happy to be alive, he starts walking away from her. She stops him and says she wants to play another game. When he asks her how long she wants to play, she says she wants to play till the end of the battle and panics because playing throughout would not let him progress further up the ranks and he'll ultimately get transformed into a girl. He quickly reviews the upgrade quests and realizes that one of them is getting on top of Black Mountain Peak and unlocking a skill there. Although it would be inaccessible to him, they can fly up to the summit with their spiritual nurturing level skills. He persuades her to go up the peak with him so that they can play games in peace until the battle ends. Meanwhile, Sadaline is baffled to see and speeds up toward the peak through her tracking device. She guesses that a spiritual nurturing level student, let's call them SNL students, has abducted him. She debates if she should follow him when a large dog bounds toward her. He says he is Debate, part of the Divine Beast sect, and is also interested in Enlil. Before the battle, they had talked and Enlil had told the dog how he was too sick to fight. Sadaline realizes that he had not come to her to apologize. Yet, because he was too and forgives him, she and the dog team up to look for Enlil, but are ambushed by another student from Class 1, Wei Ji. Seeing his fighting style, Sadaline realizes that it was, in fact, him who had attacked Enlil on his first day and not Liu. She asks him why he targets Enlil and he says that the mortal and spiritual worlds should not mix because it will lead to the spiritual world's downfall. He advises her to distance herself from Enlil immediately. Sadaline replies with her sword with the base backup. Soon a signal from his sect, the Divine Alliance, shoots up in the sky signaling their arrival. Sadaline and Debay retreat to avoid being outnumbered. Over at Black Mountain Peak, Liu and Enlil arrive on her magic wand. The spirit tells Enlil that being on the peak for a day will give him the energy to cultivate Earth Lotus Divine Art skill, giving him power equivalent to SNL. It advises him to ambush Liu upon cultivating the skill and take the chance to escape. Enlil's thoughts are interrupted by a black-haired guy who was already there when they arrived, sitting by a tree. He gets up and says he was waiting for Enlil's arrival, although he wasn't sure who he was. Now that he's seen his face, he knows who to look for next time. He then walks away and disappears into thin air. Enlil asks Liu who the guy was, but she hasn't seen anybody since they arrived at the peak. She brushes him off, and the two start playing League of Legends on their phones. They play the whole night, and she keeps losing. Frustrated, she pulls out her laptop, claiming to update the game, and expertly types up a bunch of code. When they start playing again and cannot defeat her because she installed a bunch of hacks to make her invincible. Laughing, she reveals her ambitions of eventually retiring from cultivating and entering the mortal world to set up a gaming company. With her as the CEO, she will hire him as the manager. They promise each other this future of the high five. They watch the sunrise together. The spirit notifies him that he has unlocked the Earth Lotus Divine Art and should prepare for ambush, and chooses to ignore the spirit. Liu asks Enlil if they're friends, and when Enlil says yes, she says he is her first friend. You see, people in the spiritual world only see her rank and power, reducing her from a person to a cultivation tool. During a pivotal moment atop the peak, Enlil delivers an impassioned speech, urging his peers to band together to form their own sect and revolutionize the spiritual society. However, the atmosphere sours when Liu accuses him of deceit throughout their time together on the peak. She claims her ability to detect truth through aura shows his has been consistently murky, which she interprets as dishonesty. The spirit intervenes to explain that Liu is misreading the situation. The murkiness comes from Enlil absorbing the peak's earth energy, not from lying. Confronted, Liu demands to know Enlil's true intentions. To clarify the misunderstanding, the spirit temporarily halts the energy absorption, allowing Liu's ability to perceive Enlil's honesty. Enlil confesses his previous plan to attack her, a revelation that deeply hurts Liu, feeling betrayed by someone she considered her first friend. In response, she launches the ultimate flash spell at him. Enlil, while powering up his new skill, attempts to convince her of his sincerity. Remorseful, Liu ceases her attack, but the spirit, determined to protect Enlil, takes control and forcefully unleashes the Earth Lotus Divine Art on her without Enlil's consent. Though the spell propels her backward, she quickly recovers and skillfully deflects his spell, preventing further escalation. He is pushed back against a tree and has her sword to his neck, and promises he didn't intend to hit her, and that he has been honest with her the whole time. Liu detects he's saying the truth and demands to know how he cultivated such a strong skill while just playing games. He reveals his secret for the first time since coming to the spiritual world. He explains that he has a software on his body that basically lets him cheat his way through leveling up. Seeing his clean aura, Liu finally trusts him and gives him her headband before letting him go. The headband will protect him from any SNL attack. And Lin and the spirit speed down the peak with 47 hours and 20,000 participants left in the Battle of Freedom. On his way down, he comes across Wang Xuanzhen, the previous year's top ranker. Wang doesn't notice in hiding though. He makes a big scene demanding someone named Chen show himself to settle 4-year-old fight. If he doesn't come by the time he sounds 10 thunderclaps, he will strike down all the remaining students in one go. At the same time, his tracking device goes off, signaling that Silent is in trouble. All this time, Zindabai have been followed by the Divine Alliance members. They fight till the end, but eventually start getting worn down by the large number of opponents. And Lin makes it just in time to save Silent from one of Wang's attacks and casts his Earth Lotus Divine Art on the three of them to protect them from Wang's all-out attack that eliminates all the other students. Strengthened by Lu's headband, they are successfully protected from the attack, but the headband breaks. Having reached its limit, only 132 students survive the attack, including YG and some of his goons, and Lin eliminates them all and finally reaches the 9th level. Chen Chen still hasn't come up to Wang. He continues threatening to destroy the forest if he doesn't show up. On his final count, Princess Su throws her magic weapon at him to stop him. Chang chains him up while he's distracted with his go-to absolute divine spirit skill. Despite their united efforts, Wang has the upper hand and the two are eliminated. The backlash from the final attack sends waves of energy that eliminate almost everyone from the arena. And Lin prepares to protect his group with all his strength. But the same mysterious man from the Black Stone Peak appears and blocks the wave with a single finger. Turns out the guy was Chen Chen all along. He disappears as soon as he deflects Wang's attack with his heaven-splitting finger skill. With only 4 students left in the arena and having eliminated a few students, the spirit tells and he only has a 0/1 chance of being among the top 50. The little chance he has is only if he defeats Wang. Determined to complete his quest and not become a girl, he deliberately eliminates Xulin and Debei to face Wang alone. He draws Wang to him by claiming Chen Chen is here when he arrives and challenges Wang to a fight. Wang unleashes an ultra-powerful spell that he tries to counter with his Earth Lotus Divine Art skill. Wang's spell easily penetrates through his counter and then gets ready for defeat. However, the system reveals he has unlocked the Heaven-Splitting Finger skill. He uses it immediately to try and block Wang's spell. Wang gets eliminated and then successfully gains the 2nd rank. However, he loses consciousness right after the fight due to an overconsumption of energy and doesn't wake up until 10 days later. As a result of the Battle of Freedom, the school gives him a bunch of stuff like spiritual stones, swords, potions, and whatnot. The students regard him as the strongest student and call him the Great, shooting his reputation up. He even wins a Primordial Chaos alloy brick from the lucky draw awarded by the system for completing the quest. Things are looking up for Enlil. 1 month after the Battle of Freedom, the eldest elder announces to the school that the seal of the demon suppressing pagoda has gotten damaged in the mortal world, causing the Demon King's escape. The school will send 3 talented Year 1 students, Enlil, Chang, and Xulin, to the mortal world to repair the damage and keep things at bay. Rumors spread that Wei Zhu was originally picked as one of the messengers, but after the Battle of Freedom he was replaced by Enlil. The students applaud them while the eldest elder appoints Enlil as the trio's leader. All the cheering and recognition make Wei Zhu's blood boil with vengeance. Before leaving, Enlil and his friends organize a fair. Enlil promises to bring whatever students desire from the mortal world if they pay with spiritual stones. Lu also announces that she and he are opening a non-magic gaming club where members simply play multiplayer games without using any sort of cultivation. Enlil's business and Lu's gaming club are booming, attracting lines of eager students. Celebrating their success, Lu presents Enlil with one of her rings, embedded with 10,000 spiritual stones. From a distance, Kexhielin watches enviously, and Wei Zhu, overwhelmed by frustration over Enlil's rising popularity, breaks into tears. This emotional turmoil unexpectedly unlocks 2 new abilities in Enlil, the Crybaby skill and the Almighty skill. Amidst these developments, a numerology teacher ominously cautions Xulin about the grave dangers Enlil will face in the mortal world. With these foreboding words echoing in her thoughts, Xulin follows Enlil as he approaches the portal to the mortal world. As Enlil nears the portal, sinister tentacle-like arms emerge, seizing him and pulling him through. Xulin, quick to react, grabs one of the tentacles, holding onto Enlil as they are both transported. Chang also follows closely behind. Emerging from the portal, Enlil and Xulin find themselves free falling from a height of 3,000 feet in the mortal world. Desperate to cushion their fall, they summon the Earth Lotus. Meanwhile, a flower that has gained self-awareness and immortality after a century in the sun is transformed into a beautiful spirit. Her celebration is cut short when Enlil and Xulin, plummeting to the ground, collide with her, causing her spirit to be absorbed. Upon recovery, Enlil discovers the flower now residing atop his head, lamenting her lost physical form. After some discussion, Chang comprehends her plight and shares it with the group. They vow to assist her, reclaiming her spirit form, and in the interim, she is to reside within Enlil's body, leading to a truce between them. Their brief peace is soon disrupted by the appearance of a large aircraft, carrying members of the Cultivation Investigator Alliance. Lion Ling Tian steps out, and a confrontation ensues with Zulin over Enlil's skills. The tension only eases when Chang skillfully mediates the situation by smoothing over the issues with Lion Ling. Lion Ling takes the three to headquarters, where tensions remain high. There, they meet Yuan, the president of the Cultivation Investigator Alliance and 7 of the highest-ranking members in the Alliance. And Ling asks when they get to hunt down the Demon King, to which the Alliance members laugh and say they've already caught him and patched up the pagoda. Mr. Tian says they've only been brought to the HQ so they can be returned to the spiritual world. Taken aback by this, Chang argues that they were brought here to help the mortal world and haven't received any kindness in return. Mr. Tian scoffs, saying they had asked for help from the spiritual world for weeks to take down the Demon King, and no help arrived. Now that the mortal world has taken care of the biggest threats, the spiritual world has sent a group of weak cultivators to seem friendly. The President Yuan tells them to send a message back to the spiritual world that the affairs of the mortal world will be entirely taken care of by mortals themselves. Chang asks to duel Mr. Tian, and if he wins, the three get to help the Alliance with their other missions, and steps in and takes Chang's place. He goes to attack Mr. Tian, but Lion Ling attacks him from the back to defend her father, and in the Lion Ling fight, he emerges victorious. He diverts his attention to Mr. Tang with an all-out attack, and Mr. Tang starts charging up a solid defense before they collide and cast his crybaby skill on Tian, making him break into tears and drop his defense. Seeing Mr. Tian in a losing position, Yuan rushes in to absorb Lin's attack. Impressed by his abilities, the Alliance members welcome him and his group. The HQ fits a red alert. It seems the Blood Cult and Demon Cult have teamed up to cause chaos, and Lin and Lion Ling are sent to investigate the 4th battlefield and report back the enemy's strength and numbers. They have to be careful of the Demon Cult's soul-devouring mist, which is poisonous. Lion Ling uses her powers to detect the enemies in their surroundings like a radar and sends a report back to HQ that there are 2 SNL enemies in the area. Meanwhile, Lin focuses on the soul-devouring mist approaching them. Upon the spirit's advice, he uses his Earth Lotus Divine Art as a shield against the mist toxicity and walks in. He comes out to report that the mist fumbled her readings, and that there are actually 4 SNLs. He bought them time to call in more reinforcements by casting a crybaby technique on them. Meanwhile, at HQ, they are still under the impression that 2 SNL enemies are in the 4th battlefield. Fagalin, remembering the numerology teacher's ominous words, begs to be sent to the same area. Xiaolin and Cheng fight the higher-level Alliance members who wish to go instead and force their way into the teleportation chamber. After they leave, the HQ gets alerts from multiple battlefields about an enemy of unknown level. The 3rd battlefield sends a picture, which sends a chill down the president's spine. Realizing that black feathers have descended on the mortal realm, she commands her members to inform the spiritual world of their status and to concentrate their manpower on the 3rd battlefield. However, before they can make their next move, the HQ is invaded by a large group of demon cult disciples who take all of them down. At the 4th battlefield, Lin is glad to be reunited with Xiaolin and Cheng. This is cut short when Lion Ling receives a notification that they have lost all contact with the main base. This can only mean one thing: something terribly wrong has happened. Losing all hope, Lion Ling tells the 3 to go back to the spiritual world since they shouldn't lose their lives for the mortal realm's affairs. During a crucial moment, Lin and his allies are determined to achieve victory on the 4th battlefield. Unexpectedly, Lin is abducted by demons and taken through a portal to the base of the demon cult. This sinister location features a large circular platform bordered by 10 pillars, each with an unconscious Alliance member chained to it, surrounded by swirling red clouds that obscure everything beyond. At the base, one of the black feather demons, a pink-haired woman with black wings known as Pink, traps Lin inside a dark, expansive sphere. Inside, Lin's spirit forcefully awakens him and provides a potential escape, using the ring we gifted him at the fair. Following the spirit's guidance, Lin assumes a superhero pose, raises his hand, and calls out, "Boy of Light, transform." This incantation activates the ring, which emits blinding rays of light, and opens a portal. A hand reaches through the portal, touching his, and Liu materializes from within. She shatters the dark sphere, rescues Lin in a dramatic descent, and whisks him away to the 4th battlefield. Liu's arrival turns the tide as she effortlessly cuts through the enemies, managing to transport Lianling, Kalen, and Chang back to the demon base before the portal seals. As they regroup, they are confronted by Pink, the formidable third queen of the Black Feathers Dark Knight. Wasting no time, Pink uses a portal to bring her hand near Liu and cast a death curse, but the immortal flower pops out of Lin's head and launches its photosynthesis spell to melt her hand away. Now that things are serious, Liu drops Lin from the bridle, carrying, and gets ready to fight. She dashes toward Pink and slices one of her wings off with her light sword. This reassures her that Pink will not be using her powers to the full extent of the regeneration level, as the mortal world will not be able to handle it and crumble into a calamity. With these conditions, Liu believes they can defeat her if they fight together. Pink reveals her true intentions at this point, claiming that her god commanded her to come to the mortal realm to kill one man and Lin. She uses the 10 captured SNL Alliance members as sacrifices to draw their energy out and summon the evil vanquishing sword, a divine-level weapon. Everyone's weapons quiver in the presence of it. She then summons another divine weapon, level destroying nail that bolts toward Lin and pierces his left palm, teleporting him next to her upon impact. Immediately, she stabs his other palm with the divine sword, causing cracks to open up and spread throughout his arm, neck, and face. This causes it to faint. The others charge toward her all at once, but something causes them to get pulled to the ground and collapse on the floor. This is because she summons a third divine weapon, the Heavenly Star Scourge disc, which releases many small discs that form a small dome on top of the demon base. Summoning the 3 weapons together sucks out all her power, and she falls to the ground as well. However, she is glad that her mission is completed. In one day, enough energy will be released from the 3 weapons to even destroy stars, effectively killing Lin. Liu and the others demand to know why so much effort is being put into killing their friend and Lin off. Pink doesn't know herself. All she was ordered to do is to erase him, as he does not belong in this world. Heavy rain and lightning comes down over them, and a screen flashes in front of Lin's face. It gives him the option to exchange 1/5 of his life for absolute power, only wishing to save his friends' lives. He chooses yes, but a small fairy appears out of nowhere and presses no instead. Her direct intervention to stop him from exchanging 1/5 of his life means her destiny of being eliminated from this world is sealed. And Lin recalls his memories and realizes that it was her who was saving him the entire time. But his memories were somehow altered to forget it. Tina extracts the last of her power to give to him so that he can get rid of the dome formation and save his friends. This would cause Tina to disappear from this world and for everybody, including Lin, to forget about her. And Lin runs toward her despite her warnings and hugs her tight, begging her not to go. He raises his hand to use the heaven-splitting finger to protect them from the calamity's attacks. And Lin wakes up in the base and sees all of his friends unconscious. He is relieved to see Tina still there, and the calamity gone. The discs from the Heavenly Star Scourge discs start reactivating. In a poignant moment, Tina tells Lin that as long as she remains in this world, calamities will continue to strike. Despite the seemingly insurmountable odds, Lin refuses to give up hope. When Tina questions his relentless effort towards an impossible goal, Lin reveals his sadness over not having recognized sooner that the spirit accompanying him was Tina's presence all along. He vows to repay her, overcome with emotion, as tears stream down his face. Tina gently wipes away his tears, noticing part of her arm beginning to fade, a sign that her existence is waning. She insists that they part with smiles, promising Lin that he can weep when they reunite. Together, they act as spirit and use her one final time to dismantle the formation that binds her. Rising from this emotional farewell, Lin is instructed by the spirit to use the almighty technique to summon divine weapons to his aid. With the weapons at his command, the spirit guides him to employ the level destroying nail, a tool specifically designed to break formations. Using his spiritual eyes, Lin identifies the formation's vulnerabilities and directs the nail to obliterate them, effectively making the entire formation vanish. For the final act, Lin wields the divine sword alongside Tina to confront the calamity directly. They unleash a massive beam of light towards the tumultuous storm cloud above. The light pierces the darkness, and soon, the clouds disperse, and the sky clears, signaling the end of the calamity. In the aftermath, Tynan, manifesting once more, entrusts Lin with a final mission as his spirit. Lin is tasked to find Tina in the kingdom of spirits within this timeline, ensuring that their paths might cross again. Lin solemnly promises to fulfill this quest, setting a hopeful course for their future reunion. They bid goodbye, and Tina disappears from the mortal realm. With the calamity ended and the demons defeated, the world returns to its state of order. All the cultivators, including the captured Alliance members, are safe and sound. Dark Knight, is taken into custody by the Heavenly Alliance for questioning. Everybody in the school loves and respects Lin, showering him with many rewards when he returns to the spiritual realm. The Alliance members from the mortal world remain friends with Lin, Chang, and Xiaolin, showing a return to harmony and alliance between the two worlds. He spends his time training with the 3 divine weapons and working with the new system without the spirit, all so that he can be strong enough to venture into the kingdom of spirits and find Tina.